The film opens by narrating the formidable legend of Japanese ninjas during the Pacific War, where they proved to be the toughest adversaries faced by the Allies. So effective were they that even General Douglas MacArthur, the great commander of the Allied war effort, narrowly escaped death at the hands of Japanese ninjas, saved only by the timely intervention of pro-American ninjas. This harrowing incident naturally infuriated the Allied powers, leading their supreme leader to immediately order the Japanese government to surrender its list of ninja troops and disband all existing ninja organizations. 70 years later, as the world descended into religious, ethnic, and terrorism-fueled conflicts, remnants of the ninjas' covert power began to resurface. This grim reality was confirmed by the discovery of a warrior's body bearing scars that could only have been inflicted by Japanese ninja troops. Investigations further revealed a disturbing truth. The elite ninjas, still alive, were secretly involved in murders and acts of sabotage. Of the approximately 200,000 ninjas believed to exist worldwide, a staggering 90% are reportedly in Japan. The scene shifts to a house belonging to a novelist named Greg, who was pitching his novel's premise to Rebecca, his editor, hoping to get his work published. Despite Greg's best efforts, his proposal was once again rejected by Rebecca, who instructed him to completely restart his writing. Greg, ever prepared, actually had an alternative premise ready in case of rejection. However, Rebecca suddenly received an urgent message from her superior. She was tasked with capturing foreign ninjas in the Narima district. Rebecca abruptly excused herself, leaving Greg alone in his home. Upon reaching the designated location, Rebecca finally located the foreign ninja and immediately gave chase. But unexpectedly, she was ambushed by a sudden attack from that foreign ninja, initiating a fierce battle between the two. A mid-ranking ninja supervisor named Morgan was observed watching the fight alongside what seemed to be another mid-ranking ninja, Frank, assessing Rebecca's worthiness for a future assignment. Rebecca quickly found herself overwhelmed by the foreign ninja. Even a powerful electric shock fired at the foreign ninja's body failed to incapacitate him, leaving Rebecca cornered. The foreign ninja intended to kill Rebecca with a homemade ninja firearm. Fortunately, another lower-class ninja arrived just in time to save him, a young man named Jason. In a flash, Jason managed to paralyze the foreign ninja. However, seeking no praise or credit, he vanished, leaving Rebecca alone. Jason, utterly bored with his life, spent his days lying in his room, idly playing fukia, some kind of blowgun, with toothpicks as projectiles. Not long after, Morgan arrived with a box for Jason, informing him that many ninjas were currently unemployed and had gone rogue from the official Japanese ninja organization known as NIN. He sternly warned Jason never to attempt escaping from NIN if he valued his life. He then handed Jason a job assignment and a cardboard box containing his work equipment. Jason's mission was to eradicate the underground ninja, known as UN, a ninja organization that had secretly broken away from NIN and operated covertly for over 70 years since the war. Morgan wanted Jason to complete this secret mission by disguising himself as a Kodan high school student. He had meticulously prepared everything Jason would need, including the answer key for the school entrance test, which he himself would handle at the school. Suddenly, in the middle of their conversation, one of Jason's toothpicks fell from the sky. Jason then seemingly tried to grab it mid-air, but Morgan misinterpreted it as an attempt to attack him. After Morgan left, Jason opened the box, revealing a Kodan high school uniform along with a sophisticated jacket. This special jacket had an impressive ability to make its wearer disappear and could also provide protection from sharp objects and even firearms. Not long after, a voice suddenly called from the bathroom. It was Jenny, Jason's roommate, asking Jason to get her some tissue that was out of her reach. Jenny sternly warned Jason not to look at her if he valued his life. With his ninja techniques, Jason swiftly retrieved the tissue that was far from Jenny's grasp. However, as he handed it over, he accidentally caught a glimpse of Jenny doing her business in the toilet. As an apology for the unintended peek, Jason offered Jenny a glass of beer. The two of them then drank together, and Jenny quickly passed out from too much alcohol. Jason then carried the unconscious Jenny to her room. As Jason was about to return to his own room, he heard Harris's excited voice from the street outside, another of his roommates, celebrating after being accepted for a new job. After getting to his room, Harris suddenly became furious with Jason, demanding to know why his beer supply was depleted, as only Jason had direct access to his room. Jason tried to deny Harris's accusations and offered an apology while closing the sliding door between them. Harris, however, immediately reopened the door and grilled Jason again. But Jason simply remained silent, then calmly closed the sliding door once more. Finally, Harris gave up, admitting defeat in their argument. The next morning, Jason arrived at Coden High School in Narima District, the site of his undercover assignment. He paused at the school entrance, momentarily stunned, before a girl named Lenny sharply reprimanded him for blocking the entrance. The two of them immediately launched into a small argument about why Jason was wearing a jacket in the summer heat. Before their bickering could escalate, a teacher arrived, instructing them both to head straight to class. In the classroom, the teacher handed them test sheets to complete. While Jason was indeed a new student, and this was his entrance exam, Lenny was actually a regular high school student there. However, due to her absence during the main school exam, she was required to take this makeup exam alongside Jason. Jason was seen wandering around, searching for an empty chair to work on his exam questions, eventually choosing the bench right next to Lenny. Lenny became visibly embarrassed, assuming Jason was interested in her. But it turned out that was precisely the location where the answer key for the exam had been secretly left by Morgan. They both began to pull out their stationery from their bags. With his ninja code techniques, Jason began to decipher the exam answers from tiny colored grains of rice scattered on the floor. Jason calmly and confidently tackled the exam. However, Lenny's sudden scream when she accidentally spotted the colored rice, thinking they were bugs, caused him a moment of panic. The teacher immediately approached, ready to pick them. To save his ingenious trick, Jason quickly concocted a story claiming the rice grains were a type of dangerous insect egg that would poison anyone who touched them. Not wanting to risk his life, the teacher then instructed Lenny to grab a broom so they could dispose of the eggs. This bought Jason some crucial time to quickly finish the questions. He then feigned dropping his eraser and, in the process, discreetly hit Lenny's backside with his fukia. Jason immediately took advantage of this diversion to diligently work on his exam paper. But in his panicked state from Lenny's scream, the teacher accidentally stepped on the very answer key for the exam questions. Not wanting to lose all his answers, Jason quickly stepped on the remaining colored rice grains with his feet. Then, employing a rather unorthodox ninja technique, he deliberately wet his pants, drenching the floor. Jason pretended to cry, claiming he had panicked so badly that he accidentally peed himself. The teacher, seeing this, felt incredibly sorry for him and immediately escorted him to the toilet. Meanwhile, Lenny was tasked with cleaning up the wet floor. Fortunately, what he had answered was enough to make him pass the exam. After returning from school, Jason invited Lenny to walk home with him and even suggested she stop by his house for a bit. Lenny initially hesitated, feeling it would be inappropriate to enter a boy's room. However, her curiosity got the better of her, and she agreed to a brief stop. But instead of entering the house, Jason led Lenny onto the rooftop. Despite Jason's undeniably strange behavior, Lenny followed him, and they ended up chatting about many things, discussing everything that had happened at Coden High School. Lenny then began to share a story about a student named Kent, who had become a victim of school bullying due to his own actions after secretly recording a video in the girls' toilet. She also explained that their school used to be a former military facility and that there was a kind of basement located in the forest behind the school. She further mentioned the existence of a very mysterious school supervisor who had reportedly been at Coden High School for the past 20 years. Feeling that it was getting late, Lenny said her goodbyes and headed home. However, as she walked across the tiled rooftop, she accidentally stepped on a fragile section, causing her to slip and fall from the top of the building. Jason immediately leaped into action, attempting to catch Lenny's falling body, and in doing so, accidentally deployed the airbag in his high-tech jacket, cushioning their fall. Though successfully saved, Lenny had apparently fainted with an utterly blank expression, prompting Jason to take the initiative and carry her home. Later that day, Harris was in the midst of putting on Jenny's bra when she was startled by Jason's sudden appearance from behind the sliding door. Curious about why Harris had Jenny's bra, Jason invited him to drink sake, hoping he would reveal the reason. Harris then recounted a story. 2 days prior, returning home from work, he had accidentally seen the bra floating in the sky. He jumped to reach for it, but after getting it, he felt an unsettling sensation, as if someone was watching him. Hearing the story, Jason suspected it was merely a drone used by neighborhood children for pranks. That night, Jason set a trap using the bra as bait, intending to discover who had been messing around in their residence. Not long after, a young man appeared and triggered the trap, necessitating a punishment from Jason's shockstick. The young man turned out to be Kent, the same student Lenny had told him about earlier. Kent pretended to remain unconscious, hoping that Harris and Jason wouldn't ask him any questions. But when Jason mentioned he was Lenny's friend, Kent immediately woke up, surprised that Jason knew Lenny. Jason then revealed that he was also aware of the bullying Kent had been experiencing, as Lenny had told him everything. Jason's proposition was for Kent to continue his schooling, promising that he would always protect Kent from bullying by Coden High School kids while at school, given that Jason himself would be attending starting the very next day. The next morning, a young man named Noah was seen desperately running from shurikens, sharp-throwing stars, being launched by a ninja in pursuit. A ninja wearing a transparent suit then appeared, declaring that the only way out for ninjas who had escaped from NIN was to join the UN organization. Noah, however, calmly stated that he wasn't running to survive, but merely to hone his abilities. He claimed indifference to the ongoing war between UN and NIN, even embracing the idea of dying happily if it came to that. Meanwhile, Greg, the novelist, was seen at his desk. His past historical novels hadn't sold well, so he had switched to writing fiction. Running out of ideas, he then lay on his bed, wishing for past events to recur. A few years prior, as Greg was drifting off to sleep, a male ninja had pressed a kunai, a ninja weapon that looked like a knife, to his neck. This ninja recounted an incident where 7 ninjas battled 200 troops at an embassy, revealing himself as one of the 7. He then instructed Greg to incorporate this story into his novel, which by sheer accident made Greg famous. Following this, several other ninjas came forward, sharing their own tales with Greg, including a female ninja whose desire was to destroy all ninjas on Earth. The following morning, Jason headed to school with Kent. Before reaching school, Jason made a stop at Lenny's house so all three could walk together. Lenny was visibly surprised by Kent's presence with Jason, and Kent was equally taken aback to see Lenny so close to a guy. During their walk, Lenny brought up the incident of Kent recording a video in the Coden High School girls' restroom and asked about his true intentions. Kent explained that he had actually only intended to report a hidden tapping device in the toilet to a teacher, but had ended up being blamed himself. Hearing this, Jason resolved to be extremely cautious in all his actions, finding it highly suspicious for a wiretap to be present at a high school. The trio finally arrived at their classroom. As Jason introduced himself to his new classmates, Kent walked toward his study bench. However, a student named Dan deliberately stopped Kent with his foot, a move that Jason certainly couldn't let slide. Using his own foot, Jason subtly maneuvered Kent's foot to step directly onto Dan's foot. Another student named Harper, who witnessed this, was thoroughly impressed by Jason's quick thinking. Jason then settled into his chair, surprised to find a girl with a family name Isabel beside him, a Japanese surname Jason greatly admired. Not long after, a red laser dot from a doll suddenly aimed at Jason's face, causing him to rush out of the classroom, ignoring his teacher's warnings. Outside, he met Ethan, a lower-class ninja, who revealed he had been present when Jason killed the foreign ninja on the bridge to help Rebecca. Ethan confessed that it had actually been his assignment to eliminate that ninja, but Jason's unexpected arrival had prevented him from truly gauging his own ninja techniques. Shortly after, a school supervisor, who was also a ninja, was secretly watching them from another building. He was Grant, an elite member of NIN, who then showed off his ninja skills to Jason by accurately determining the exact amount of money in Jason's pockets, using only his enhanced hearing. Jason was amazed by this display. Grant revealed that he was specifically tasked with giving Jason his mission. Ethan suddenly said that Kent was currently being taken by Harper. Not wanting any harm to come to Kent, Jason quickly descended the building in his signature ninja style, accidentally catching the eye of Isabel, who happened to have a camera with her. Kent, oblivious to the setup, followed Harper wherever he went, unwittingly walking into a trap set by Dan and his friend Liam. Mission accomplished, Harper promptly left, and Dan and Liam began to bully Kent behind the school building. Witnessing the bullying, Jason couldn't just stand by. He slowly walked towards them, using a cardboard box to cover his face and his transparent jacket for concealment, while funnily left his lower body seen. Dan tried to fight Jason, but it was useless. Jason skillfully used Kent as a shield to counter the bullies. Meanwhile, Lenny, who seemed to harbor deeper feelings for Jason than mere friendship, was visibly jealous of Isabel for being close with Jason. She approached Isabel, asking what they had talked about in class, especially given how close they had appeared. Isabel revealed that Jason was simply amazed by her family's surname. This admiration, combined with Jason's mysterious demeanor, had actually made Isabel develop a slight liking for him. Suddenly, Jason passed by, stopping to ask them both about the whereabouts of the school supervisor, Grant. Both Lenny and Isabel seemed eager to provide directions, as if vying for Jason's attention. Upon arriving at the school supervisor's office, Grant greeted Jason with his katana drawn. Jason warned Grant not to take another step, revealing that Ton had already locked a laser sight onto him. Hearing the name Ton made Grant a little nostalgic. Ton, a sophisticated tracking tool in Earth's orbit belonging to NIN, could pinpoint ninjas anywhere. Then the laser was beamed and it cleanly cut Grant's katana. Jason left the place feeling surprised because Harper had been waiting for him outside, watching him with a mysterious smile. Elsewhere, Greg, the novelist, was seen soaking in his bathtub while humming. After his bath, he returned to his study. However, Rebecca's sudden appearance there created an awkward atmosphere, as Rebecca had only come to collect Greg's novel manuscript. Meanwhile, at a mini-market, the transparent ninja was up to his old tricks again, deliberately messing up food on the shelves. He then threw a shuriken, which the mini-market staff, armed with a katana, skillfully managed to split. The guard, revealed to be part of a NIN ninja, was supremely confident he could defeat anyone who dared to attack her. But she never expected the transparent ninja to suddenly materialize directly in front of her. The ninja's sudden attack managed to kill her. News of a lower-class NIN ninja's death at the hands of UN ninjas reached Rebecca. Shortly after, she was also ambushed by a UN ninja. She was taken aback, hadn't expected the ninja to be equipped with transparent jackets that covered his entire body, a technology strictly prohibited by both the Ninja Association and the government. She pulled out her shock stick to fight, but Isabel's sudden appearance gave the ninja an opening to attack. Seeing Isabel in danger, Rebecca pleaded with the ninja to let her go. Hearing Rebecca's voice, the ninja surprisingly refrained from harming Isabel. It turned out the ninja remembered Rebecca as a woman he once had a crush on. The ninjas then left, but not before delivering a chilling message. Isabel's death wasn't meant for that time, but soon. At Coden High School, Kent, who admired Harper, was shocked to witness Harper picking his nose. Before he could fully process this, Liam suddenly appeared, hitting Kent on the head and demanding he follow him. Kent was terrified, assuming Liam sought revenge for yesterday's incident. Unexpectedly, Liam instead prostrated himself, begging Kent to let him meet Jason, explaining that Jason was the man he had been waiting for all this time. Jason then emerged from behind them. Liam, ambitious to become Coden High School's #1 thug, expressed his desire to confront a legendary school thug who was reportedly hiding in an underground building. Liam admitted he only knew sparse details about the man, having learned everything from Harper that very morning. Jason, typically indifferent to such matters, agreed to Liam's request purely out of his curiosity for the man. That night, Jason sought Morgan's approval for his plan to investigate the Coden High School basement to confirm a suspicion. Morgan agreed to Jason's request, but advised him to significantly increase his vigilance. He warned that transparent ninjas were becoming increasingly rampant, despite the government's prohibition of 100% body transparency in ninja technology. Morgan didn't want any terrible incidents at the school, so he also planned to send Rebecca to Coden High to assist Jason and Ethan. Meanwhile, Lenny saw her parents laughing happily at the news on television. She chose to retreat to her room, where she lay down and fantasized about Jason's face, imagining a future where they were dating. However, as she reveled in her daydream, Lenny was startled by a pair of eyeballs suddenly appearing right in front of her. It was Jason in his transparent suit. He told Lenny to stop screaming. His purpose for being there was to warn her not to go to school tomorrow because, as he cryptically stated, the school would be in chaos. Jason couldn't explain in detail, but his point was clear. He didn't want Lenny at school the next day. The next morning, as Dan was about to enter the school gates, his head was suddenly severed by a UN ninja who had begun a brutal mission to massacre everyone at Coden High School. Simultaneously, Lenny, having been warned by Jason not to go to school, met Grant to ask about Jason's whereabouts and to relay Jason's ominous warning that this school would be in chaos. Hearing this, Grant suspected a major incident was about to unfold at the school. He entrusted an item to Lenny, instructing her to give it to Jason if she saw him later. At the NIN headquarters, Frank informed Rebecca and Ethan that the UN ninjas had begun their infiltration of Coden High School. Both Rebecca and Ethan were immediately ordered to be on high alert for any appearance of UN operatives. Meanwhile, Jason was seen heading toward the underground base, accompanied by Liam and Kent. However, upon reaching the entrance, Jason went in alone, leaving Liam and Ken outside, both too afraid to follow him into the dark depths. Back in the classroom, students were deep in their studies when they were horrified by the appearance of Dan, who entered the room without his head. Swiftly, a UN ninja burst in and began slaughtering everyone in the class. Students scattered in terror, fleeing out of the classroom. Lenny, witnessing the horrifying scene of students running in fear, could only stand frozen, utterly confused by the sudden chaos engulfing the school. From an adjacent building, a student eating in a toilet stall was also shocked when a shuriken, thrown by the ninja, pierced the toilet. The ninja intended to kill the student, but finding the student's habit of eating in the toilet too bizarre, the ninja inexplicably spared his life. Rebecca walked down the classroom hallway, listening intently as the principal's voice echoed over the loudspeaker, announcing the dire situation at school. Moments later, Grant also made an announcement to all Kodan students, instructing them to remain in their respective classrooms. Not forgetting his comrades, he subtly transmitted a code to Rebecca and Ethan. Grant then informed Rebecca that UN ninjas were now in another building and urged her to locate them quickly, warning that if they weren't found soon, all students at Kodan High School could die. True to the warning, UN ninjas had begun a brutal rampage, slaughtering students indiscriminately in the school hallway. Rebecca continued down the hallway, searching for the UN ninjas. Soon, a UN ninja approached Rebecca from behind, then revealed his true identity. It was Noah. When they were both at the academy, Noah had harbored feelings for Rebecca. But because Rebecca had once coldly stated that she didn't consider him a friend, Noah had become deeply resentful. Now, wielding his katana, he angrily swung it with the intent to kill Rebecca on the spot. Rebecca was pushed to her limits, sustaining a severe leg tendon injury. However, just as Noah hesitated, seemingly unwilling to deliver the final blow, Morgan arrived to save her. As a middle-class ninja, it was no challenge for Morgan to overpower Noah. Even when Noah activated his transparent mode, Morgan ingeniously splashed paint onto Noah's body, allowing him to detect Noah's presence. Noah ultimately managed to escape, but fortunately, Morgan had already saved the data of their fight through his high-tech glasses. Meanwhile, Lenny met Kent, immediately asking about Jason's whereabouts. Kent replied that Jason was currently in the underground base behind the school. Hearing this, Lenny quickly headed there. Shortly after she left, Isabel appeared, inviting Kent to come into the school to help Rebecca, who was now tending to her injured leg. Isabel desperately begged Kent to support Rebecca, explaining that she couldn't walk properly because Noah's katana had severed her leg tendon. Meanwhile, Jason continued his descent through the school's treacherous, hidden base until he encountered a UN ninja. To his surprise, this UN ninja was none other than Harper. Back at the school, Noah was striding through the hallways, making his way to Ethan. Noah's true objective at the school was to eliminate Ethan, who was the grandson of one of the legendary 7 ninja commanders. Noah found himself cornered, his body locked in place by Tan's targeting system. But just before Tan could fire, Noah managed to break free from Ethan's grasp. Meanwhile, without a moment's hesitation, Jason launched a bomb at Harper, which Harper effortlessly dodged. Jason unleashed all his might against Harper, but she, despite being a lower-class ninja, possessed abilities on par with a middle-class ninja. Even while fending off Jason's fierce assault, she maintained a broad smile, confident that Jason's skills were still inferior to her own. Elsewhere, Isabel and Kent carefully carried the injured Rebecca to the gym. Guided by Grant's instructions, they managed to locate the secret exit of the Under Ninja basement, a place that was once a clandestine Japanese factory. Once inside, Rebecca explained to them that this facility had been a counterfeit money factory operated by UN ninjas, and horrifyingly, a site for the execution of thousands of women and children who had worked there. Returning to the furious clash between Harper and Jason, Jason was visibly overwhelmed. Harper even goaded Jason to use Tan, claiming it was Jason's only path to victory. However, Jason knew that if he deployed Tan, UN's true objective would be achieved. He refrained from using it because activating Tan would make its coordinates easily detectable, allowing UN to seize control of the powerful weapon and, subsequently, the entire Earth. Harper simply smiled, recognizing that Jason had already figured out her master plan. Soon, a sophisticated rocket carrying Harper's katana arrived, delivered directly to her. Meanwhile, in outer space, a UN ninja successfully infiltrated the NIN satellite. Having obtained the satellite's exact location thanks to the data from Noah's fight with Ethan, Morgan, who was currently alone, immediately informed Frank, urging him to warn all ninjas on Earth to brace for the worst possible outcome. Back at the school, Ethan rushed onto the rooftop and launched a direct attack on Noah. But Noah's transparent jacket was merely a diversion. He was already poised to strike Ethan from behind. Ethan was almost killed, but luckily Morgan arrived just in time, plunging his katana into Noah's body. Lenny also made her way to the underground base, the scene of Jason's fierce battle, to deliver the item Grant had entrusted to her. It turned out to be a katana summoning ring, carried by a drone. With this newly acquired katana, Jason fiercely retaliated against Harper. This counterattack, however, didn't actually happen. It was a carefully orchestrated foreshadowing of Jason's next strategic move against Harper. Jason tried to visualize another plan, but the outcome mirrored his first vision: death. With no other choice, Jason decided to execute this risky plan against Harper, knowing it meant his own demise. They launched their attacks simultaneously, leading to both of them being pierced by each other's swords. Before her death, Harper revealed the UN's true goal: to destroy Kodan High School and seize control of the Earth. Not long after, Harper succumbed to her injuries. Jason urged Lenny to leave him, emphasizing the severity of his condition. But despite seeing Jason's critical state, Lenny refused to abandon him and bravely carried him away from the collapsing structure. Meanwhile, at NIN's headquarters, the 7 legendary ninja commanders received critical intelligence. A UN ninja had infiltrated the TON satellite, with the aim of seizing NIN's data and gaining control of TON. Panicked, they ordered their subordinates to immediately detonate the TON satellite. However, before the satellite could explode, the UN ninja successfully gained full control, enabling him to project a massive laser beam directly to destroy Kodan High School. Kent, Rebecca, and Isabel managed to escape through the secret passage. They emerged to a shocking sight. Kodan High School had been utterly obliterated. Meanwhile, Jason, sensing his life was fleeting, forced Lenny to leave him, insisting she use his jacket to escape. But Lenny, stubbornly refusing to comply, stayed there, shielding Jason from the falling debris. Despite her valiant efforts, only Lenny managed to escape the collapsing structure. She wept, heartbroken, unable to bring Jason with her. Before the film concludes, Kent was seen deeply saddened by the loss of the one who genuinely wanted to be his friend. Harris and Jenny were also seen toasting, a solemn acknowledgement of Jason's departure from their lives. Meanwhile, Lenny, unable to bear the news about Kodan High School's destruction, retreated to her room. But upon entering, she was startled to find a boy there who bore an uncanny resemblance to Jason. It turned out he was Jasper, a person who shared the same family name as Jason.